Well, welcome back, everyone. John Lay here from Talented Learning, and we're continuing our world tour of the world's best learning technology solutions that are out there. Today's stop is in Windsor, United Kingdom, with the good folks from Growth Engineering. And with us today, we have Juliette Denny, who is the managing director and founder of the organization, that's going to introduce us and tell us all about Growth Engineering. Juliette, all yours.
Hey, John, thank you so much for inviting us to this talented learning opportunity. Really appreciate it. It's always lovely to be part of what you guys are doing. And so, yeah, thanks very much for including us in this. So, yeah, just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of what we do. The first thing is that our kind of mission in life is to wage war on dull online learning. We fundamentally believe that everybody is born curious and everybody wants to learn. The problem is a lot of education does not engage the recipient, and as a result, it makes little or no impact in terms of their behavior, or indeed their curiosity to learn more about the actual subject area. So our focus is we really want to make online learning as interesting, exciting, and engaging as possible, so that we can get that democratization of learning and that real change in behavior with, you know, frontline staff. The issue really is that although online learning has been around for quite a few years, it does have a bad reputation. So when I'm speaking at conferences and stuff like that, and I, you know, say to the audience, look, how many of you love your learning technology platforms, or how many of you love your e-learning? You know, vast majority of them, you know, just don't put their hands up. They just don't, you know, like what they're seeing, particularly in certain areas like compliance or health and safety. It's really difficult to get people to take the learning, but also even if they take the learning, it makes little or no impact on their actual behavior. And there's been lots of, you know, studies by third-party organizations, you know, looking at you know, how ineffective you know, online learning is in actually making a measurable impact on people's behavior in you know, in their works situations. And this is extended even more when you start, you know, talking about extended enterprise, where perhaps, you know, they're not even employed by the organization. So how do you create an engaging, exciting learning environment that people want to be part of? And this is really the problem that we're trying to solve. And, you know, for certain companies, we've done it very well. So, you know, Tech Data is a sales company. We've, you know, improved their year-on-year sales performance by 70%. Sign off, we've improved conversion rates by 125%. We've improved average order size, you know, at Game Retail and in L'Oreal. And, you know, just overall, the amount of interactivity you're getting on the platforms is considerable. So, you know, Matt will share with you a little later on, but on average, you know, people are spending at least 20 minutes on the mobile app every single day. So you have those eyeballs on your learning platform for 20 minutes a day, which means that it is just reinforcing those key messages, you know, messages about culture, mission, values, expectations. All of these things can only be delivered if people are spending time and being part of that learning environment. What we're really interested in is these companies that want a high-performing learning culture, which means that it's not a, you know, I'm going to push out learning and people are going to consume that learning and then we don't expect anything to happen. What we are focused on is really trying to drive a high-performance learning culture, which means that not only do we need to deliver the information out, we also need to encourage them to show how they're using that information. So that the idea of social learning and the idea of really being an integral part of being and participating in the learning is absolutely critical in order to get that, deliver out the changes in behavior that we know we need in order to justify and, you know, smash through the ROI barriers. So what we're really interested in is creating high performance learning cultures, which means that there is a lot of interaction on the platform. We are expecting people to be using these technologies as the primary way of not only learning, but also sharing and also asking questions. So we're really looking at the democratization of learning, however it being, led by, the L&D department. Because, ultimately what we know is that people are much more likely to be engaged in a learning solution if it's something they want and like. So learners want to learn at their own pace. They want to experiment with new ideas. They want to collaborate, in real time, and they also want, learning at the point of need. We also know that they want it bite-sized. We also know that, they want to consume video. So there's lots of things that we know that we need to deliver out on the platforms in order for them to actually make that real big impact, in the front line. And critical to this, we also know that, if you're told, right, you need to go online and you need to do, some health and safety content, that's a difficult ask because of the way humans work. We really need to ensure that these learning solutions, that the content and the platform taps into what we know about the limbic brain. And I think this is where, we are very different than other organizations, because we know what motivates and drives individuals, and it is the limbic brain and the idea of emotions and memory as opposed to this higher order thinking. So if we're expecting to get changes of behavior because we're appealing to, you must do this or you should do this, unfortunately that is not actually going to impact their behavior and their desire to learn. What we really need to do is put an environment around that which has elements of collaboration, competition, and really motivates from a kind of limbic brain point of view, and hopefully you'll see that in the solutions that I'm going to talk about. The other thing that's really very important is that it's clear that you're not going to get a practical return on investment unless you actually understand how learning works. So in the past, a lot of learning solutions have been very much like one-off moments in time. I'm going to deliver out a piece of learning and it's going to change behavior and make an impact. And the reality is it doesn't, obviously, because we know in the forgetting curve that people consume content, and if they don't do something with that, then they've just forgotten it. We also need to have processes on the platform that allow us to explore the full gamut of Bloom's taxonomy. So again, there's no point us delivering out that information unless we are testing them on it, unless we are moving up Bloom's taxonomy all the way to the very end, where they're actually analyzing, further information and building on that knowledge base, which is really where gamification and the social elements come in. The other thing we know is modern day learners, really do need to have a say in order to be part of that community. So one of the things that we want to do is give them a forum to be allowed to explore knowledge and build up a following within that learning community. Because by doing that, we're engaging them to be leaders and subject matter experts in specific areas. So we want to reward them, and we want to basically showcase their expertise and how they're delivering that expertise when they're in the field. And then the other thing that we need to do is that we know that it's difficult to continue learning. We know that if we're trying to lose weight or we're trying to whatever it might be, and so using gamification, particularly the hook model of reward and recognition consistently when we are delivering out training and career building advancement and development, we know that by using the hook model and having the processes embedded into the platform will ensure that learners are continually wanting to go back into that environment. So just in terms of a snapshot, who are Growth Engineering? We've been around since 2004. We're a SaaS platform business. And over the years, we're actually up at about 100 industry awards now, not 50. So it's a little bit a bit behind the curve, that one. We have customers all over the world. I think the last time I looked, we were delivering our services into about 76 different countries, and we have offices in the UK, in the US, in Singapore, and upcoming in Sydney as well. You know, we have different clients in different areas, but I would say that one of the places we're particularly strong in is consumer brands, and anyone who works in a frontline situation. So be they employed by the organization or in an extended enterprise scenario. So for example, L'Oreal, you know, and IATA, and probably about 40% of the people on that slide are extended enterprise. And where we're very different in the market is you know, these 5 areas. So the first one is that we are really obsessed by how people learn and how we get behavior change, because without that obsession, you can't get a long-term return on investment. And so one of the things that we keep having to check back with is what is going on in terms of behavioral science. How do we know, what do we know about engagement, and how do we push what we know about engagement into the platforms in order to drive engagement and usage? One of the things that we've been particularly strong at is mobile learning, because we know that people spend more time on their mobile phones. We also know it's a much more convenient way for a lot of people to actually learn. They simply just don't have access to PCs. So frontline workers are particularly, you know, susceptible to this. So mobile learning, we just don't think it's good enough to have, you know, a responsive site or things like that. We really have invested very heavily in, you know, cutting edge app technology to make the apps, you know, super fast, super branded, you know, and just really exciting environments that people want to be part of. You know, so for example, the usage statistics for the Knowledge Arcade is, for people like L'Oreal, they spend more time, the users spend more time on, you know, their version of the Knowledge Arcade than they do on Facebook or Instagram. And again, Matt will talk a little bit more about that. Wow. The other thing that's very important is branding. It's very important that you're not necessarily going into a platform which is somebody else's brand. People get very, very easily switched off. So this, we need to have a seamless integration between our customer's brand and the learning solution. So it needs to look and feel like L'Oreal, or it needs to look and feel like Costa Coffee, or it needs to look and feel so that you get that whole thing about mission, vision, and values moving into the learning platform. Social learning is also absolutely vital, because you can't change knowledge into behavior without social. People have to talk about the learning, and we know this from Bloom's taxonomy. So social learning is something that we spend a lot of time doing. And then finally, gamification. And gamification, you know, done right, is incredibly powerful and will really, really kickstart engagement. But there's not a one-size-fits-all, and gamification is something that is very, very important in order to target excitement and delight in terms of stimulating the limbic brain. So it's an important part, but it needs to be done within the confines of the brand. So what is the right way to do gamification for each individual client? And that's obviously baked into the platform. So you can choose to do as much gamification or not as is, you know, relevant to your organization. So our product suite is made up of 4 different areas. The Knowledge Arcade, which is the micro mobile platform, which is particularly powerful for frontline staff. Then the Learning Management Platform, which is an enterprise platform which covers, you know, performance center, talent tracker, all of those, and a reward center as well as a full-blown learning management platform. We then have Genie, which is a game-based authoring tool. So whilst we don't necessarily advocate that every single piece of content should be game-based or should be gamified, every so often it does provide excitement and delight. So we have a lot of different gaming templates which, you know, people can choose from to create games very, very easily for their users. And then we've got Battle of the Brain. So this is where we actually do get involved in content, trying to take specific content areas such as maths or sales, and just really, really trying to make them exciting as humanly possible, so that we can really showcase what can be done in terms of how to get content really, you know, bite-sized, exciting, so that we can create a sense of engagement around it. So the Knowledge Arcade is what Matt is going to be demoing for us when I've just finished going through the core areas of this presentation. And the Knowledge Arcade we had a huge amount of success with. What you're looking at now is is obviously a growth engineering branded app, but when the apps come alive and they're branded Lego or L'Oreal or HP, they are absolutely stunning. They just look exactly like the individual brand, and of course having that learning environment that is fun, beautifully formed is very exciting. And so the app itself is locked and loaded with gamification. It's got a scorecard, it's got badges, it's got leaderboards, it's got social clubs, it's got player to player quiz battles, it's got learning games, and there's a full marketplace on there as well. So very engaging way, and some of the stats we've got with that are just phenomenal. The next area we've got is the Academy LMS. The Academy LMS is incredibly engaging platform. It's got everything that you would expect from an enterprise learning management platform: assessments, tests, reviews, curricula. But the key thing about it is that it can also be fully customized to your look and feel, but it also comes baked in with a lot of gamification, which really does help our clients really bust through and ensure that they maximize the engagement for those people that are coming onto the platform. And we really are looking at a minimum of people coming into the platform once a day, and through people coming in and constantly using the platform, that of course delivers a really healthy return on investment. The next product is the Genie game creator, which can be integrated into the back end, and it's also the way of getting content onto the Knowledge Arcade as well. So it just allows every single piece of content to be seamlessly branded into your look and feel. And why this is important is if you've got a mobile app and it looks absolutely beautiful, and then you get content which doesn't look, it's not the right fonts, it's not the right color scheme, it just really ruins, it breaks the flow. So Genie is super easy to use. I mean, it's literally point and click, and it also comes embedded with a lot of gamification features. So you can add leaderboards to specific pieces of content, which is just quite a fun way of driving interaction and engagement, as well as, of course, Genie allows you to create battles and battle squads. So you can individually battle somebody, or you can have battle squads, which is just a fantastic way of driving up engagement. And again, I know that Matt will touch on that. Then we have Battle of the Brain. So these are our consumer apps that we've been delivering to the app stores. And just a very exciting way of trying to get into schools and to get people to really understand how exciting learning can be, even if it's in and around a subject that people struggle to access. And what we found with Battle of the Brains and maths is that it's just once people get onto the app, they just really like the way it's structured. They really like the idea of battles, and that constant reinforcement is just a really great way of exciting and delighting the curiosity that we really want them to have. So in terms of just a couple of case studies, this is EE, which is part of British Telecom. So this is 25,000 employees across 553 stores. It's actually, this platform is actually bigger than that now, because it's launched to another 3 British Telecom clients. But what was really good about this is that they used to have an LMS. They then came over to growth engineering, and when they launched, they decided they would launch with enough content, they thought, for 10 weeks. In actual fact, all of the content was blown through by all of the people within 7 days because of the gamification. And it's just a very exciting, idea to have a platform where it was just so dramatically changed when you add gamification, when you add social. The organization really kind of steps up and it moves from a passive learning culture to something that is very proactive. And so, these are some of the statistics that we were able to deliver, and they continue to go strength to strength. So the second case study is just from L'Oreal. So this is from travel retail. So these aren't people that are necessarily employed by L'Oreal, They are people that are employed by department stores or duty free. And so what's really important about this app is the content and the way that the app was created just needed to be so appealing and so exciting that people would go in on their own time and basically take the learning. And that's what we have seen in spades. And I won't say any more because I know that Matt will talk us through that, because it's a huge success story and one we're very proud of. The other one I just wanted to talk a little bit about is HP. One of the reasons why this one is so fantastic is that it was to an audience that was very, very against online training. So they do have an LMS, which they really struggle to get people to use. But as soon as we changed, and this was just the pilot, this wasn't the eventual rollout, but as soon as we actually said, look, let's do it slightly different, let's put them into some peer-to-peer battles and then put them into some social arenas, it was a completely different relationship. So suddenly all the salespeople really wanted to get and be involved because they didn't want to be at the bottom of the leaderboard and really wanted to show what they knew about the knowledge. So even though they weren't prepared to do the e-learning modules on the LMS, they did want to show that they knew the information and that they were wanted to be part of a learning culture driving that new strategy forward. The other thing that's very important to us is support. We've got some fantastic testimonials and a very high net promoter score, which is something that we are always looking to improve. But we know that within the learning technologies industry, you know, net promoter score across the board is really, really bad. It's not good enough, and clients really should, you know, expect more. And we've been working really hard on our net promoter score, and I think that our customer excellence department are now, you know, really, really very proud of what's been achieved. But obviously it is something we take very, very seriously. We have an inline support center, and you know, we are always looking to improve that. We also have very low attrition rates, which I think is a testament to the customer excellence team and all the hard work that they do. So at that quick run through, I will now, if it's okay, hand over to my very esteemed colleague.
Hi there.
Matt, and he
Matt should have.
Can you see my presentation? You should be able to see.
We can.
Cool, perfect.
All right, Matt. So let's take a look at it. Juliette got us all excited here with the combination of instructional design and theory and gamification tied to actual ROI. So it's nice to take ID to ROI. Let's see it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, John. So today I'll be showing you the Knowledge Arcade, which is growth engineering's super engaging learning environment condensed into a mobile application. Just a bit of background on kind of our thought process behind the Knowledge Arcade. We wanted to develop a training solution that would smash all barriers to learning to ensure that everyone can access their training whenever and wherever they want, never missing a thing. And as the product manager for the app, a large part of my day-to-day is studying what the modern learner actually uses their mobile device for. It's not used to write essays or fill out tax returns. It's used in these kind of short, sharp bursts, and that is key. We also wanted the mobile app to blend seamlessly into the user's life. So it borrows effective functionality from the likes of Facebook, Netflix, Instagram, Duolingo, and many more. And we're always on the lookout for emerging trends within the app world to really ensure that we stay at the forefront of the learning technologies app space. And as Juliette mentioned, the Knowledge Arcade is a highly customizable learning environment that always feels like our client's home. It never feels like a growth engineering product. We always work closely with our client to make sure it looks and feels like it is their product. And this really leads to an immersive experience that people want to be a part of multiple times a day. And we are the only vendor out there that provides this level of customization, and that's why we get industry-leading results. So speaking of, let me just go to the next slide. So at the start of 2020, which feels like ages ago now, I, along with my team, gathered the data across our client base in 2019 and borrowed the ideas of the good people at Spotify and created the Knowledge Arcade Wrapped 2019. So the screen that you're looking at now, John, this is average time spent on the app per user per day, broken down by the continents that our clients were on last year. So if we take a look, even at the low end there, got Europe on 17 minutes, 11 seconds. That's per user per day, right the way up to the Knowledge Arcade addicts in South America, who are on it for a whopping 31 minutes and 41 seconds. And even if you think about the Europe stat of 17 minutes, 11 seconds, just kind of imagine what organizations could do with that level of screen time with their users every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Just go on. But of course, John, spending time on the app is all well and good, but what does that actually translate into? So again, we gathered up all the data from our clients across last year, and what it equated to was average logins per user was 484. Average content completion, which is kind of obviously the bread and butter of any L&D department, came out at 54 learning modules per user, so more than one module once a week for the average user. And then there's a great testament to the social learning that Juliette mentioned earlier. You've got what they're actually doing. So average post per user, so that's them asking questions, sharing how they've put their training into practice. That's 133 posts per user. Then average replies, that's them jumping in and helping their colleagues with any questions that they might have, 512. And then the average likes per user, again, another testament to how good the social learning is across our applications, at 3,292. And that is far more than anyone I know is posting on Facebook or Instagram. So we are really, really proud of how our app enables quality social learning.
Wow.
Cool. So I'm just going to jump into the demo portion now. So just bear with me while I change screens, John.
All right. So how integrated is the app with the LMS? Does it track back and forth, or they're really two separate applications?
No, I mean the crossover is extremely strong. So they are connected, but then of course you need to take into account that you have different ways of learning with the app and the LMS. But we do have a lot of clients that have both, and they use them both effectively, and it really helps their L&D strategy thrive.
Mm-hmm. So you can take this data, this kind of data from the arcade, and look at it holistically with the data of the boring content from the LMS?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Just.
I know that's probably an affront to say any of your content is boring.
No. None of our clients create boring content, John. We steer them in the right way. Right. So can you see my mobile device?
I can.
Perfect. Okay. So before I dive into one of our applications, so first of all, you can see our beautiful icons that we've created for our clients, and this is just a little representation of the kind of customization that we work with here at Growth Engineering. So top row, we've got our L'Oreal applications. We've got an app we've done for the World Health Organization, IATA, HP. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dive in. Before I dive in, I'm just going to tell you an alternative way that you can that we help engage with our learners. So as is the benefit with any native application, is that you can harness the power of push notifications. So push notifications really dictate our lives. They're always pinging, whether that's a WhatsApp message, whether it's Amazon, whether it's BBC News, whether it's a Facebook post. They really do dictate our lives. And the Knowledge Arcade harnesses this power to get the engagement levels maximized. So users will be alerted when new content is made available, when someone replies to a social post, and you can also do custom notifications. So this ranges from breaking company news to a classroom reminder to a little burst of Monday morning inspiration. And with the targeting functionality on the Knowledge Arcade, it really is the fastest way of getting a message to your employees. So a client of ours, they used to have a weekly comms that went through email, and that was getting really low engagement. But when they harnessed the power of the app and its push notifications, they were getting a lot higher read-through rate by hosting it in the app and sending a push notification along with it. And with the targeting, you can send messages to your entire population, specific groups like sales or marketing or a specific country, or you can target an individual user. So what I'm going to do now, John, is just jump right into an application. So let's jump into this one here. Okay, so from the moment you log in, you are thrust into a gamified record of your learning adventure to date. This homepage or scorecard serves as a launchpad for self-development and really inspires a yearning for learning. So let's just take our way down this page here. So front and center right now, we're looking at streaks. So streaks will keep you coming back to the platform and engaging with your learning program. You can see live as your streaks mount up, and you're rewarded for actions such as logging in, completing content every day, and winning knowledge battles, which we'll touch on in just a second. The section below means you can easily identify how many badges you have and where you sit in the overall leaderboard, and also how much XP you have accumulated. And this reminds learners how far they've come, and it spurs them on in their quest to be the best. Next up, we've got our battle stats, which again, I'll touch on in just a sec, but this is a breakdown of their win, draw, lose history, which really adds that extra level of competition to each and every battle. From there, you can launch into a battle by just pressing start battle, challenge an opponent, and prove yourself as a knowledge champion. And then the final section is all about our learning content. So we've gamified categories to turbocharge content completion. You'll be able to see what categories you're closest to completion and dive straight back into the action by hitting the continue button. And these progress bars are really key indicator for areas of improvement to both learners and admin level. So you can easily identify gaps in your skill set and level them up from there. So I'm just going to change apps really quickly, John. Sorry. Let's go to that one. So what we're going to do now is going to dive into clubs. So clubs are the social functionality on the app, and today's learners are accustomed to using their mobile device to communicate with each other. Therefore, clubs on the Knowledge Arcade have a familiar look and feel. So they consist of that functionality they would have already experienced across other popular social media platforms. So the social feed allows learners to ask questions and share their expertise through pictures, videos, links, documents, and these can then be liked and commented on. And as Juliette mentioned, we are gamification crazy here at Growth Engineering. So these actions are gamified to encourage knowledge sharing, with users receiving XP for posts, replies, and likes. Each club can be fully customized with a look and feel to represent the discussion points or various brands that our clients have. So it could be you have one club for sales staff, another to share tips, and another for managers to discuss strategy. They can be for whatever you want. And more, we're seeing them used as a classroom tool to blend real-world classroom events with the online learning. So before a classroom event, a tutor will set up a club and provide useful pre-classroom videos or PDFs. During the event, a challenge might be set overnight where they upload a video to reflect on their learning during the day. And then after the event, users can dive back in and they can ask questions. The tutor can then answer them and help them further, or even fellow classroom attendees can also dive back in as well. So some of the functionality on clubs. So first one that we're coming to here, this is a poll. So a poll is a great way, it has a few different applications. So first of all, it can be used in a fun way as like a nice little competition. You can also survey certain areas of your application for improvement, but it's also a great way of identifying knowledge gaps within your community. So you could throw out a daily question. If most of your community is getting that question wrong, you know that you've got a knowledge gap that needs addressing. So you take that to your content team and then and then they can go about creating a magical piece of content then upskills your learning community. Next up, this example of sharing a post, so very similar to LinkedIn and Facebook. You can share posts across clubs. And then probably my favorite piece of clubs functionality, which really does bring people together, is our post translation tool. So quite often you'll find that knowledge is locked. It's hidden away in certain countries due to the language barrier, but not with the Knowledge Arcade. So my Korean is a little bit rusty, John, but if I just top right there and hit translate, and I now can translate that message perfectly, and I now know it says unleash knowledge from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we're just going to move to
Cool.
the learning section. Sorry, I keep seeing my dog. Just going to move on to the learning section of the application. So straight away, you can see that the search functionality is front and center of the library. We want to make learning as accessible as possible. And we want it to kind of replicate that kind of experience when you're searching for your favorite Netflix content or your favorite Spotify song. So really, we want to make the training easy to locate and ready whenever and wherever you want it. And again, you can dive into your categories for that gamified progress experience. And again, if you have subcategories, they'll also be gamified to let you know your percentage there as well. And the next tab here, we've got our to-do list. So this is where admin teams can push you content that has a high priority for completion. So it might be that there's some crucial health and safety training that needs taking, some onboarding training for any new starters, or if you work within retail, it's a quick way of highlighting modules for the latest season of fashion. So there are plenty of examples. And then your history here, this will give you a brief insight into your learning history. You can see where you need to improve scores, and then simply click on that module, and it will take you back into it, so you can adjust any errors that you might have made the first time round.
Mm-hmm.
So let's quickly take a glance at a piece of learning. So when you tap into a piece of learning, you'll be given a breakdown of its contents and what gamification elements are involved. And also, just like your latest Netflix binge, you can hit download for later, and you can take that piece of training on the tube or where you don't have internet access. And then when you sync back up to the internet, it will disappear from your device, and you'll get all the wonderful experience points and shoot your way up the leaderboard. And then also we've got the share functionality there, where you can share it to those clubs that I showed you earlier. So we really are putting the social back into social learning.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, so if I just take you to the battle section, which you've heard mentioned quite a few times already. So I'm just going to give you a quick explainer of that. So battles functionality really came about from having conversations with content creators who were worried that users would answer a question once during their training and then forget about it. So with battles, we've made this impossible. So this feature lets your learners compete against each other in player versus player quiz battles. So you challenge an opponent, and 5 random questions are drawn from a question bank. So let's say you've taken weeks of health and safety training content. You've forgotten all the answers. You are only doing it just to get it out of the way. But no, Battle steps in, and now you can challenge your colleagues to this health and safety battle, and it will pick 5 random questions from that pool of health and safety questions. And it really is a fun, addictive way of reinforcing knowledge. And with the Knowledge Arcade, it's super easy to challenge opponents. So you can do the drop down here and select your battle, or you can hit randomize, prepare battle. That'll just load up now. So I'm just about to face Erin Brock. So I'm going to declare battle, and I've got a push notification her way, letting her know that I've declared her to a battle. I'm just going to make our way. Maths is not my strong point, John. So you're going to see me get a lot of wrong answers here. So that was wrong. So that's been donated with red. So again, got that one wrong as well. 3 for 0 at the moment. And that's 5 out of 5 wrong. So I suspect Erin is going to emerge victorious from that. And I'm sure she'll send me a text message gloating in just a moment that I'm sure you'll see pop up on my screen.
So Matt, talk me through the workflow quick. Yeah, sure. You go ahead and randomize that, and you find your opponent, and that opponent gets a notification on their phone that says they've been challenged. Then is that something that they have to respond to immediately, or it could be like later in the day, or how does that part work?
No, so if I just go back to the library, so it will sit in their to-do list, and because it was a push notification that they received, it'll also sit in their notification center at the top. So that's a little bell at the top. So very, very similar to how Facebook works. Any push notifications that you receive is stored in that notification center at the top. So it will sit in both of those places, so that users can come back to it when and wherever they are free.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, perfect. Next up, let's take a trip to the leaderboard. So leaderboards really tap into our competitive spirit, and they act as a powerful engagement tool to drive users to keep learning. Users on our application are based on their XP that they collect through the completion of content, contributing to the social community and battles, as you've seen today. So leaderboards can be viewed weekly or monthly, and this ensures both short-term and long-term engagement is maximized. And the pull of pole position really motivates them to engage with the platform and their training, because if they know they're only a certain action away from beating their rivals to the top, they are more likely to put that effort in and get one over their colleagues. Then next on this kind of progress page, we've got the badges. So this is really a great way of users to dive in and seeing how far they've come on their learning journey, and it really spurs them on to devour even more content. So the badges that are grayed out, these are the ones that I haven't earned yet. And then you've got these kind of beautifully branded badges here for any ones that I have got. And if I want to complete the content to get a certain badge, I just tap on it there. And I will be taken straight away to that piece of content. Cool. So next up, we got our streaks here as well, and this is a really nice record, again, of the streaks that you've earned on your learning journey. So yeah, I mean, I am addicted to my Fitbit streak. I am determined to hit 10,000 steps every day. So streaks are a really powerful mechanism, and we use them with great effect at Growth Engineering for kind of reinforcing those behaviors that those L&D admin want to see from their users. And that's it really, John. That's kind of a nice whistle-stop tour of the Knowledge Arcade. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Good stuff. It's interesting to see how you're pulling together the content and the platform pieces inside of this. So tell me at the end of the day, what do you see your organizations doing with these points or awards? Do they take it to the next step to content, actual rewards that they get? That's, I don't know, money or something physical? Do you see them do that or no?
Yeah, sure. So from our reporting suite, our clients have kind of full visibility of a user's badges, how much XP they've collected, and then quite often clients reward those users. So they'll set kind of learning challenges with a certain prize attached, and our reporting suite is very, very granular. So you're able to quickly identify who has won that competition, who maybe put the best comment or demonstrated their learning the best, and then they are sent a reward off their own back. But we've also got a reward center as well through our Academy LMS, and users can trade in their experience points and badges for certain prizes.
Excellent. And so administratively, another topic, administratively, how's all this getting set up? where's that getting done from the LMS, or you have a separate administrative backend to create the apps? Help us think through that real quick.
Yeah, sure. So all the administration would take place in the same place as you would the LMS. So that is what allows that kind of really great, strong crossover for our clients that have both. And the benefit of that is that despite it being a new modern product, it has that proven admin system from the growth engineering team that's been strong for the past 14 years. So we have lots of expertise, and we always hear horror stories of people thinking they can do a learning app, but without that strong backbone of the LMS admin platform, we've had a lot of failure. We've heard of a lot of failure. So thanks to our strong kind of backbone, this kind of allowed the Knowledge Arcade to thrive.
Interesting. And how often do you think that clients use you to help create the content? Is that something they're capable of doing on their own, and I guess through the social democratization, or is that something that you tend to help them with time and time again?
Yeah, sure. So
I mean, I was just going to say, we do quite a lot of work at the setup stage with the clients to help them sort of reframe their understanding of, you know, how we can move kind of high performing learning culture forward. And so the setup stage is really, really critical. So in most of the rollout, what we will do is work with them to help them understand what a social learning calendar looks like, how they should apply gamification, and then we might get involved in the first couple of key pieces of content. But the reality is using Genie is so straightforward. And once we've actually set up the template, you know, so all of the content looks really beautiful, it's really not complicated enough for us to get involved on an ongoing basis. So it's really kind of helping them, you know, structure the strategy and, you know, potentially help them with, let's say, the first kind of 4 weeks content, but after that, we're not really needed.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. So how about, you know, here in America, at least, you know, a lot of medium to large companies already have a learning management system. Is this something that could lay on top of an existing learning management system, or would an organization really need to embrace you more fully to be able to get to be able to use this mobile app?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the work that we do is people have got learning management systems that potentially don't have the level of engagement. And so what we're asked to do is come in and bolt on the Knowledge Arcade to their LMS, which is absolutely fine, because as Matt mentioned, you know, all of the APIs and all of the structures are in place in order to, you know, understand, you know, SCORM reporting, XAPI, all of that kind of good stuff. So it's very easy for us to provision accounts onto from the Knowledge Arcade through, you know, the functionality that is basic in all LMSs, and also push back data so it can be reported within the third-party LMS as well. So, you know, we have had lots of clients that do choose to come over with the LMS and the app, but by the same token, we can also, you know, play very happily with third-party LMSs.
Great. Well, good to hear. Well, we have just a few minutes left. Do you want to just show us a quick couple of screens of what the LMS looks like, Juliette?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that we've overrun, but I very much appreciate that opportunity. Let me just go to the
Thanks for that demonstration, Matt. Great stuff. From a mobile app standpoint, you know, I certainly see mobile apps out there, but generally it's always somebody's second punch, or the learning vendor's second punch. You know, the platform is the key, and then the mobile app it tends to be a subset of some of the capabilities or a replication of it. And so it's interesting to see you focus so much on, just the app and the app experience, kind of as its own track. It definitely puts you in an area of differentiation.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, and I think one of the, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to thank John, and I mean, yeah, and I think that's why our clients have seen so much success with that. I mean, it's the future of learning. Yeah, and so it's obviously worthwhile that kind of clients have that strong app offering for their user base.
Yep, agreed. All right, looks like we're
and
in.
I think it's also a sort of it's a reality of the nature of the way we work. The reality is that, I don't know about you, John, but I certainly spend a huge amount of my time on my mobile phone. So where perhaps five years ago, I might have spent more time working on my desktop or my laptop. Now, I'm on the move, I'm moving around, and it's absolutely vital to have a really, really powerful learning experience at the point you want it, which is on your mobile phone. And so, these responsive sites just are not good enough to meet the needs of, today's learners. I think it's really vital that, what they expect on their mobile phone is really, really high quality. And you can see that from, shopping sites, for example. Those people that, use responsive sites versus those people that have native apps, the conversion rate for spend is much higher on the native apps. And really just taking that, that common sense approach really is something that we've kind of embedded, and this is why we've taken the Knowledge Arcade and the Knowledge Arcade's development so seriously. But yeah, just want to take just a couple of moments just to talk you through the LMS. So we've now logged in, and of course that can be done, automatically, and we can link in with other systems. But what you're seeing here is what we call the Widgetized Dashboard. So again, going back to the idea that we want everything branded in the company's look and feel, but we also want to give control over to what this landing page looks like. So all of these areas here, the My Things to Do, the trophy cabinet, the hyperlinked areas, the what's happening wall, the leaderboards, these are all widgets that can be moved around. So if you want something different, if you want reports on your homepage, you can have whatever you want on your homepage. This is just the way we've laid it out on our demo site. So just to take you through some really basic functionality here, what we're trying to do is, again, drive that engagement. So one of the first things they see is they see what level they're on. So you can see here that I'm logged in as Matt. You can see his profile photo here, and you can see that he's on level 1. So typically where we use this is when the Academy first launches, you can have as many levels as you want. You can go on to other levels once you've completed the first set of levels. But the idea is very much that you're just moving through content in your own pace. And of course, levels, you go up from level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you would publicize the fact that there are 7 levels to the quest. And obviously it delivers quite a lot of competition for people moving through the content in those levels in a really quick way. You can put anything into these levels. So you can have videos describing what the narrative might be about. You can have downloads, you can have videos, you can have SCORM stuff, you can have training needs analysis, you can have assessments, you can have tests, you can have, a myriad of different things. Anything can go into a level, but it's just a really nice way of driving participation and really ensuring that they're moving through the content as much as they possibly can. The next level, the next area that I wanted to show you is the library section. So this is the My Learning that I just popped onto, but the learning zone is very, very simple kind of layout. It has, obviously it goes through groups and hierarchies, so you're only going to see the learning that is relevant for your department and your learning. So everybody has a slightly different view of what the library might look like. You've also got links, blogs, glossary. You can view the latest content. You can, so all of this is sort of updated in real time, and it just looks really nice and easy. You can also rank the content, which obviously goes back to the instructional designer, so that they continue to improve the learning that they're delivering out. And then the other sort of key section that I just wanted to touch on is this is the club section, which, so the library and the club section are both synchronous with what you're seeing on the app. So if you've got a club in the LMS, you're going to have a club or a social area in the app. So all of these, you can basically sign up, you can view the club, you can get notifications, you can subscribe to the club, you can automatically unsubscribe to the club, you can like post, and this is exactly what you're going to see on the app as well. So that's where the crossover is. However, of course, with the LMS, there is significantly more functionality. So you've got the reward center, which Matt alluded to. You've got classroom training booking. You've got all of the elements that sort of go into a robust resource and classroom training booking. You've got help desks. So here you can do inline chat and FAQs with bots. And then, of course, just as we are on a very quick whistle tour, this is obviously the admin, and where you would admin the app as well as the actual element itself. So you've got a huge amount of different content that you can create: assessments, classroom material, clubs, blogs. You've got Genie, so this is where you create your learning quests, which we short, and battles. So you use Genie to create all of the content that you're going to see on the app. But of course, you can obviously upload third-party content, and you can use any authoring tool for the LMS. Here's where you manage your curriculars, your categories, and also the groups, so that the right people are seeing the right things. Here we have the learner section. So just very, very simple way to either upload learners. You can create learners individually, but most of our enterprise clients, have some sort of API which just connects it to their HRIS or any other system. Here you've got gamification, so you can create the levels that we spoke about. You can create rewards. You could approve rewards. You can create badges. You can create achievements. You can create streaks on the app and also on the LMS. You've got a full-blown performance center. So here we've actually only got certain ones of them activated, but we've got values and principles, objectives. There's training needs analysis and all sorts of things within the performance center. And then you've got reporting. So this allows you to create bespoke reports. You've got reporting dashboards on there, and just very, very quick, easy way of running large sets of data, which hopefully give you the intel that you need to make sure that you're delivering that all-important return on investment. And then finally, you've got settings. So we've got an inline support center. So obviously, there are SLAs that we need to adhere to. And so all of that can be tracked through the support center. You can have any number of languages that you want to be activated on the LMS. So different people from all around the world can ensure that they're delivering, they can receive it in whatever language they want. You can change any communications going in and out of the LMS, so that you've got your email templates here. And then we've also got the widgets, which of course you saw on the front of the site, so we can move them away. And then we have certain retail clients that, because of the large amount of engagement on the platforms, they just want to lock down the LMS so that people actually can't get onto it. And so we have time setting there, which means that, let's say Saturday is a key trading, you can make sure that the LMS is not available to users, because you want people out selling rather than learning. Then you can control all of the themes, so all of the colors you see on the LMS. This can all be very easily controlled through the theme manager. And then you've got APIs. So we've got a suite of APIs that you can very easily integrate other systems. And then we've also got skills trackers. So this is kind of like an inline CV area where it just allows you to identify future talent and ensure that talent is able to be singled out if there are opportunities that are relevant. So that sort of gives you a super quick 10-minute kind of overview of the Academy at LMS. The key areas and the key differentiators that we always, find when we're, talking to or going through RFP processes or sales process generally is that the look and feel of the LMS is very strong. It's very easy to customize it so it looks exactly like your brand and reflects your vision and values. And of course, now we've got the Widget Dashboard. You can pretty much customize the entire kind of user interface to make sure that your users are seeing exactly what you want them to see, be it reports or be it widgets or be it trophy cabinets or badge cabinets or whatever it might be. So yeah, I hope that gives you a very quick whistle-stop tour. And John, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. It's been lovely talking to you as always.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for participating here and taking the hour to show us what you've been up to. It's been a few years. It's how time flies, but it's been a few years since I've taken a good solid look on the inside of what you've been up to, and the progress is really striking in a lot of different areas. Of course, in the mobile app area, but just overall in the depth and how nice everything looks. That feedback seems accurate from my perspective too. It's just really modern and crisp and clean. And I just love how it all ties back to, as an instructional designer by education, I love how it all comes back to instructional design and Bloom's taxonomy and engaging learners and things that we all talked about 30 years ago or almost 30 years ago. But seeing it operationalized now or brought to life in your application. So keep up the good work. Thanks for joining along. And listeners, we'll try to hopefully we'll see you on the next executive briefing, and you can find more of our content at talentedlearning.com.